My name's Jeffrey and I'm here to say that Maggie G is... Hey guys, Jeffrey here with another episode of my Objective Personality Typing series. Last week I tried to type Jake Gyllenhaal and I kind of went off the rails a little bit. I don't want to spoil his type for anyone or deprive anyone of a learning experience, but I will say that I was in the right animal column, so I wasn't so bad. I think that I took it to heart more than I should have. The tricky thing about Jake is that he's so level typically, and he's so good at the political aspect of being an actor and saying the right things and operating at a surface level. And so the main issue was that I didn't really seek out enough footage. I didn't look for moments where he's really out of his element, where he's kind of dealing with those demons in real time, because whenever somebody gets a curveball of a question, something that makes all of the rehearsed, polished behavior fall away, then you can really see the spotlight on those demons. Anyway, this week I am keeping it in the family with Maggie Gyllenhaal, and I guess if I do a horrible job with her, then next week I'm going to have to try Barkley Gyllenhaal. I think that'll be a little bit easier, a little more in my wheelhouse. He's probably some kind of SFP. I mean, he has to be, right? At the bottom of the screen, you're going to see the Objective Personality Typing Grid, and it's going to update in real time as I try to talk through what's going on with Maggie. So the first thing that caught my eye with Maggie was that she seems to be information dominant. And what this means is that she's not blast or consume last. Her life really seems to be about sharing information, sharing these stories of marginalized people, kind of offering alternative visions for what it means to be a woman in the world. Like, that's what her work is really centered around. The next thing that I went ahead and did was eliminate all of the ST types. She's never really in that ST reporter mode. This because this, and this because that, and here's how the facts all fit together. In general, she's drawn to talk about values and people's perceptions and the narratives that we live in. And again, I'm making a conservative move here. I'm not going to imply that she's some kind of in right off the bat just because she's talking that way, but that's about as far from ST as you can get. So what I saw next was hella NI. So anytime she gets kind of stuck in a scene or in a movie, she always returns to a particular framework of what's the event, what's the obstacle, what's the character's need. That's her way of navigating a situation that makes her uncomfortable. It's returning to these concepts and then applying them to the real world facts. She said that she returns to that framework almost superstitiously. And another example of NI is that whenever she's working on a show or a movie, everything becomes about that movie. And right now she's involved in this TV show called The Deuce. So anything that she encounters in her life is funneled through that. Like, how does this relate to my character in The Deuce? How does it relate to the themes of The Deuce? She even articulated it like how whenever you're in love with someone and every song on the radio is suddenly about that situation, you know, it's all kind of just funneled in that direction. And I think you can see more evidence of intuition over sensory in the fact that at one point I saw her talking about how, yeah, I'll look at sort of the factual information about what my kind of character would be doing in this particular day and age, how much money they were going to be making. But what I'm really interested in is all of these abstract possibilities and all of these personal ideational possibilities. Like, when was the first time my character did this? When was the first time they did that? What was some pivotal experience in their life? These things are more important than those sensory facts. I'm also seeing a lot of TI and FE. It's not really clear to me right off the bat which one is the savior, which makes me think that maybe she's a double decider, but I'm not going to jump to that right away. I'm just going to eliminate anything that is savior FI, savior TE. And as I'm digging through footage with this most recent distinction in mind, I'm seeing a lot that seems to indicate to me that she is savior FE as opposed to savior TI. Whenever James Franco, who is her co-star in The Deuce, started receiving accusations of sexual misconduct, she said that she felt personally responsible for reaching out to all of the women who were involved in the production, all of the crew members, and ensuring that they felt safe and respected on the set. You can also see that axis of savior FE, demon TI, and the fact that she said that she didn't really feel entitled or allowed to have a point of view until she worked on the movie The Secretary. Before she did that movie, she said that she was primarily concerned with being a good girl. Those were her actual words. She wanted to be a good girl. She wanted to do what she was supposed to do, keep everybody on set happy, play her part, not contribute to the way that this film was unfolding. Now, that being said, I do think that she's relatively balanced between these two perspectives, which would make her a double decider. And instead of trying to prove that in particular, what I'm actually looking for is whether or not she's a single observer. And essentially what leads me to believe that is the fact that her life is about sharing this NI vision. That's the primary concern. She's wanting people to see these alternative possibilities for women in the modern world, and seems to think that if we are all privy to the stories that she wants to tell, then the world is going to be transformed. And the final decision is kind of tough for me because I don't actually see a lot of play energy. I mean, she's a little playful, there's a little bit of banter, but she naturally has this quiet disposition and seems like a sleepy kind of person. But at the same time, she doesn't really fit the blast sleep archetype, which is often called the douchebag. And so I'm still not entirely sure about this move, but ultimately I want to say that she is doing more of expelling energy for the tribe, even if it's not stereotypically playful in the way that I want to see play. And then the fact that it took her so long to embrace having her own point of view, that also kind of points to being sleep last, like she hasn't done enough personal processing of information through her own subjective filter. I guess that leaves me with double feminine, NIFE, blast, play, consume, sleep. Sure hope that I did better this time than I did last week, but I'm more willing to roll with the punches. So bring them on, Dave Superpowers. Alright guys, if you enjoyed this video, please like, please subscribe if you haven't already. I think there's something about the bell notification. Thanks for tuning in. I'll talk to you next time.